Nehemiah, chapter 1. The words of Nehemias the son of Cashapp. And came to pass in the month Chaslu of the 20th year that I was in Susan the palace, and Anani, one of my brethren, came, he and some men of Judah. And I asked them concerning those that had escaped, who had been left of the captivity, and concerning Jerusalem. And they said to me, The remnant, even those that are left of the captivity, are there in the land, in great distress and reproach. And the walls of Jerusalem are thrown down, and its gates are burnt with fire. And it came to pass, when I heard these words, that I sat down and wept and mourned for several days, and continued fasting and praying before the God of heaven. And I said, Nay, I pray you, O Lord God of heaven, the mighty, the great and terrible, keeping your covenant and mercy to them that love him, and to those that keep his commandments, let now your ear be attentive, and your eyes open, that you may hear the prayer of your servant, which I pray before you at this time, this day both day and night, for the children of Israel your servants, and make confession for the sins of the children of Israel, which we have sinned against you. Both I and the house of my father have sinned. We have altogether broken covenant with you, and we have not kept the commandments, and the ordinances, and the judgments, which you did command your servant Moses. Remember, I pray you, the word wherewith you did charge your servant Moses, saying, If you break covenant with me, I will disperse you among the nations. But if you turn again to me, and keep my commandments, and do them, if you should be scattered under the utmost bound of heaven, thence will I gather them, and I will bring them into the place which I have chosen to cause my name to dwell there. Now they are your servants and your people, whom you have redeemed with your great power, and with your strong hand. Turn not away, I pray you, O Lord, but let your ear be attentive to the prayer of your servant, and to the prayer of your servants who desire to fear your name. And prosper, I pray you, your servant this day, and cause him to find mercy in the sight of this man. Now I was the king's cupbearer. Chapter 2. And it came to pass in the month Nisan of the 20th year of King Arthasasta, that the wine was before me. And I took the wine, and gave it to the king. And there was not another before him. And the king said to me, Why is your countenance sad, and do you not control yourself? And now this is nothing but sorrow of heart. Then I was very much alarmed, and I said to the king, Let the king live forever. Why should not my countenance be sad? Forasmuch as the city, even the home of the sepulchres of my fathers, has been laid waste, and her gates have been devoured with fire. And the king said to me, For what do you ask thus? So I prayed to the God of heaven, and I said to the king, If it seem good to the king, and if your servant shall have found favor in your sight, I ask that you would send him into Judah to the city of the sepulchres of my fathers. Then will I rebuild it. And the king, and his concubine that sat next to him, said to me, For how long will your journey be, and when will you return? And the proposal was pleasing before the king. And he sent me away, and I appointed him a time. And I said to the king, If it seem good to the king, let him give me letters to the governors beyond the river, so as to forward me till I come to Judah, and a letter to Asaph the keeper of the garden which belongs to the king, that he may give me timber to cover the gates, and for the wall of the city, and for the house into which I shall enter. And the king gave to me, according as the good hand of God was upon me. And I came to the governors beyond the river, and I gave them the king's letters. Now the king had sent with me captains of the army and horsemen. And Sanballat the Aronite heard it, and Tobiah the servant, the Ammonite. And it was grievous to them that a man was come to seek good for the children of Israel. So I came to Jerusalem, and was there 3 days. And I rose up by night, I and a few men with me. And I told no man what God put into my heart to do with Israel. And there was no beast with me, except the beast which I rode upon. And I went forth by the gate of the valley by night, and to the mouth of the well of fig trees, and to the dung gate. And I mourned over the wall of Jerusalem which they were destroying, and her gates were devoured with fire. And I passed on to the fountain gate, and to the king's pool, and there was no room for the beast to pass under me. And I went up by the wall of the brook by night, and mourned over the wall, and passed through the gate of the valley, and returned. And the sentinels knew not why I went, nor what I was doing. And until that time I told it not to the Jews, or to the priests, or to the nobles, or to the captains, or to the rest of the men who wrought the works. Then I said to them, You see this evil in which we are, how Jerusalem is desolate, and her gates have been set on fire. Come, and let us build throughout the wall of Jerusalem, and we shall be no longer a reproach. And I told them of the hand of God which was good upon me, also about the words of the king which he spoke to me. And I said, Let us arise and build. And their hands were strengthened for the good work. and Sanballat the Aronite, and Tobiah the servant, the Ammonite, and Gesem the Arabian, heard it, and they laughed us to scorn, and came to us, and said, What is this thing that you are doing? Are you revolting against the king? And I answered them, and said to them, The God of heaven, he shall prosper us, and we his servants are pure, and we will build. But you have no part, nor right, nor memorial in Jerusalem. Chapter 3. Then Eliashib the high priest, and his brethren the priests, rose up, and built the sheep gate. They sanctified it, and set up the doors of it. Even to the tower of the 100 they sanctified it, to the tower of Anamiel. And they builded by the side of the men of Jericho, and by the side of the sons of Zachar the son of Amri. And the sons of Asana built the fish gate. They roofed it, and covered in its doors, and bolts, and bars. And next to them the order reached to Ramoth the son of Uriah, the son of Akoz. And next to them Meshullam son of Bereshis the son of Mazbul took his place. And next to them Zadok the son of Bana took his place. And next to them the Thekoim took their place. But the Adoram applied not their neck to their service. And Joiada the son of Phasek, and Meshullam son of Basodiah repaired the old gate. They covered it in, and set up its doors, and its bolts, and its bars. And next to them repaired Molshus the Gabaonite, and Avaran the Maronothite, the men of Gabaon and Maspha, to the throne of the governor on this side the river. And next to him Oziel the son of Arachias of the smiths carried on the repairs. And next to them Ananias the son of one of the apothecaries repaired. And they finished Jerusalem to the broad wall. And next to them repaired Rephaiah the son of Sur, the ruler of half the district round about Jerusalem. And next to them repaired Jedaiah the son of Aramath, and that in front of his house. And next to him repaired Atuth son of Asabaniah. And next to him repaired Melchias son of Haram, and Asub son of Phot Moab, even to the tower of the furnaces. And next to him repaired Salom the son of Alos, the ruler of half the district round about Jerusalem, he and his daughters. Anan and the inhabitants of Zanoh repaired the gate of the valley. They built it, and set up its doors, and its bolts, and its bars, and 1,000 cubits of the wall as far as the dung gate. And Melchiah the son of Rechab, the ruler of the district round about Beth-Haram, repaired the dung gate, he and his sons. And they covered it, and set up its doors, and its bolts, and its bars. But Solomon the son of Coles repaired the gate of the fountain, the ruler of part of Maspha. He built it, and covered it, and set up its doors and its bars, and the wall of the pool of the skins by the meadow of the king, and as far as the steps that lead down from the city of David. After him repaired Nehemias son of Azabach, ruler of half the district round about Bethsur, as far as the garden of David's sepulchre, and as far as the artificial pool, and as far as the house of the mighty men. After him repaired the Levites, even round the son of Bani. Next to him repaired Asabiah, ruler of half the district round about Keilah in his district. And after him repaired his brethren, Beni son of Enadad, ruler of half the district round about Keilah. And next to him repaired Azar the son of Joshua, ruler of Masphi, another portion of the tower of ascent, where it meets the corner. After him repaired Baruch the son of Zabu, a second portion, from the corner as far as the door of the house of Eliashib the high priest. After him repaired Meremoth the son of Uriah the son of Akoz, a second part from the door of the house of Eliashib to the end of the house of Eliashib. And after him repaired the priests, the men of Ekachar. And after him repaired Benjamin and Asub over against their house. And after him repaired Azarias son of Majas the son of Ananias, the parts near to his house. After him repaired Bani the son of Adad, another portion from the house of Azariah as far as the corner and to the turning of Phalach the son of Uzai, opposite the corner. And where is also the tower that projects from the king's house, even the upper one of the prison house. And after him repaired Phadiah the son of Phoros. And the Nathanim lived in Ophel, as far as the garden of the water gate eastward, and there is the projecting tower. And after them the Thekoim repaired, another portion opposite the great projecting tower, even as far as the wall of Ophla. The priests repaired above the horse gate, every man over against his own house. And after him Sadok the son of Immer repaired opposite his own house. And after him repaired Simea son of Sechenia, guard of the east gate. After him repaired Ananias son of Selemiah. And Anam, the sixth son of Seleph, another portion. After him Meshullam the son of Bereshah repaired over against his treasury. After him repaired Melchiah the son of Seraphi as far as the house of the Nathanim, and the chapmen over against the gate of Maphakad, and as far as the steps of the corner. And between that and the sheep gate the smiths and chapmen repaired. Chapter 4. Now it came to pass, when Sanballat heard that we were building the wall, that it was grievous to him, and he was very angry, and railed against the Jews. And he said before his brethren, that is the army of the Samaritans, is it true that these Jews are building their city? Do they indeed offer sacrifices? Will they prevail? And will they this day restore the stones, after they have been burnt and made a heap of rubbish? And Tobias the Ammonite came near to him, and said to them, Do they sacrifice or eat in their place? Shall not a fox go up and pull down their wall of stones? Hear, O our God, for we have become a scorn, and return you their reproach upon their head, and make them a scorn in a land of captivity, and do not cover their iniquity. But it came to pass, when Sanballat and Tobiah, and the Arabians, and the Ammonites, heard that the building of the walls of Jerusalem was advancing, and that the breaches began to be stopped, that it appeared very grievous to them. And all of them assembled together, to come to fight against Jerusalem, and to destroy it utterly. So we prayed to our God, and set watchmen against them day and night, because of them. And Judah said, The strength of the enemies is broken, yet there is much rubbish, and we shall not be able to build the wall. And they that afflicted us said, They shall not know, and they shall not see, until we come into the midst of them, and kill them, and cause the work to cease. And it came to pass, when the Jews who lived near them came, that they said to us, They are coming up against us from every quarter. So I set men in the lowest part of the place behind the wall in the lurking places. I even set the people according to their families, with their swords, their spears, and their bows. And I looked, and arose, and said to the nobles, and to the captains, and to the rest of the people, Be not afraid of them. Remember our great and terrible God, and fight for your brethren, your sons, your daughters, your wives, and your houses. And it came to pass, when our enemies heard that it was made known to us, and God had frustrated their counsel, that we all returned to the wall, every man to his work. And it came to pass from that day that half of them that had been driven forth wrought the work, and half of them kept guard. And there were spears, and shields, and bows, and breastplates, and rulers behind the whole house of Judah, even of them that were building the wall. And those who carried the burdens were under arms. Each with one hand wrought his work, and with the other held his dart. And the builders wrought, each man having his sword girded upon his loins. And so they built, and the trumpeter with his trumpet next to him. And I said to the nobles, and to the rulers, and to the rest of the people, The work is great and abundant, and we are dispersed upon the wall, each at a great distance from his brother. In whatever place you shall hear the sound of the cornet, there gather yourselves together to us, and our God shall fight for us. So we continued laboring at the work. And half of them held the spears from the rising of the morning until the stars appeared. And at that time I said to the people, Lodge you every man with his servant in the midst of Jerusalem, and let the night be a watch time to you, and the day a work time. And I was there, and the watchmen behind me, and there was not a man of us that put off his garments. Chapter 5. And the cry of the people and their wives was great against their brethren the Jews. And some said, We are numerous with our sons and our daughters, so we will take corn, and eat, and live. And some said, As to our fields and vineyards and houses, let us pledge them, and we will take corn and eat. And some said, We have borrowed money for the king's tributes. Our fields and our vineyards and houses are pledged. And now our flesh is as the flesh of our brethren, our children are as their children. Yet, behold, we are reducing our sons and our daughters to slavery, and some of our daughters are enslaved. And there is no power of our hands, for our fields and our vineyards belong to the nobles. And I was much grieved as I heard their cry and these words. And my heart took counsel within me. And I contended against the nobles and the princes, and I said to them, Should every man demand of his brother what you demand? And I appointed against them a great assembly. And I said to them, We of our free will have redeemed our brethren the Jews that were sold to the Gentiles. And do you sell your brethren? And shall they be delivered to us? And they were silent, and found no answer. And I said, The thing which you do is not good. You will not so walk in the fear of our God because of the reproach of the Gentiles our enemies. Both my brethren, and my acquaintances, and I have lent them money and corn. Let us now leave off this exaction. Restore to them, I pray, as at this day, their fields, and their vineyards, and their olive yards, and their houses, and bring forth to them corn and wine and oil of the money. And they said, We will restore, and we will not exact of them. We will do thus as you say. Then I called the priests, and bound them by oath to do according to this word. And I shook out my garment, and said, So may God shake out every man who shall not keep to this word. From his house, and from his labors, he shall be even thus shaken out, as an outcast and empty. And all the congregation said, Amen. And they praised the Lord. And the people did this thing. from the day that he charged me to be their ruler in the land of Judah, from the 20th year even to the 32nd year of Arthasast, 12 years, I and my brethren ate not provision extorted from them. But as for the former acts of extortion wherein those who were before me oppressed them, they even took of them their last money, 40 didrachmas for bread and wine. And the very outcasts of them exercised authority over the people. But I did not so, because of the fear of God. Also in the work of the wall I treated them not with rigor, I bought not land. And all that were gathered together came there to the work. And the Jews, to the number of 150 men, besides those coming to us from the nations round about, were at my table. And there came to me for one day 1 calf, and I had 6 choice sheep and a goat, and every 10 days wine in abundance of all sorts. Yet with these I required not the bread of extortion, because the bondage was heavy upon this people. Remember me, O God, for good, in all that I have done to this people. Chapter 6. Now it came to pass, when Sanballat, and Tobias, and Geshem the Arabian, and the rest of our enemies, heard that I had built the wall, and that there was no opening left therein. But hitherto I had not set up the doors on the gates, that Sanballat and Geshem sent to me, saying, Come and let us meet together in the villages in the plain of Ono. But they were plotting to do me mischief. So I sent messengers to them, saying, I am doing a great work, and I shall not be able to come down, lest the work should cease. As soon as I shall have finished it, I will come down to you. And they sent to me again to this effect, and I sent them word accordingly. Then Sanballat sent his servant to me with an open letter in his hand, and in it was written, It has been reported among the Gentiles that you and the Jews are planning to revolt. Therefore you are building the wall, and you will be a king to them. And moreover you have appointed prophets to yourself, that you might dwell in Jerusalem as a king over Judah. And now these words will be reported to the king. Now then, come, let us take counsel together. And I sent to him, saying, It has not happened according to these words, even as you say, for you frame them falsely out of your heart. For all were trying to alarm us, saying, Their hands shall be weakened from this work, and it shall not be done. Now therefore I have strengthened my hands. And I came into the house of Semei the son of Dalaiah the son of Medabiel, and he was shut up. And he said, Let us assemble together in the house of God, in the midst of it, and let us shut the doors of it, for they are coming by night to kill you. And I said, Who is the man that shall enter into the house, that he may live? And I observed, and, behold, God had not sent him, for the prophecy was a fable devised against me. And Tobias and Sanballat had hired against me a multitude, that I might be frightened, and do this, and sin, and become to them an ill name, that they might reproach me. Remember, O God, Tobias and Sanballat, according to these their deeds, and the prophetess Nodia, and the rest of the prophets who tried to alarm me. So the wall was finished on the 25th day of the month Elul, in 52 days. And it came to pass, when all our enemies heard of it, that all the nations round about us feared, and great alarm fell upon them, and they knew that it was of our God that this work should be finished. And in those days letters came to Tobias from many nobles of Judah, and those of Tobias came to them. For many in Judah were bound to him by oath, because he was son-in-law of Sechenias the son of Heri. And Jonan his son had taken the daughter of Mesulem the son of Berechiah to wife. And they reported his words to me, and carried out my words to him. And Tobias sent letters to terrify me. Chapter 7. And it came to pass, when the wall was built, and I had set up the doors, and the porters and the singers and the Levites were appointed, that I gave charge to Ananias my brother, and Ananias the ruler of the palace, over Jerusalem. For he was a true man, and one that feared God beyond many. And I said to them, The gates of Jerusalem shall not be opened till sunrise. And while they are still watching, let the doors be shut and bolted, and set watches of them that dwell in Jerusalem, every man at his post, and every man over against his house. Now the city was wide and large, and the people were few in it, and the houses were not built. And God put it into my heart. And I gathered the nobles, and the rulers, and the people into companies. And I found a register of the company that came up first, and I found written in it as follows. Now these are the children of the country that came up from captivity, of the number which Nebuchadnezzar king of Babylon carried away. And they returned to Jerusalem and to Judah, every man to his city. With Zorobabel, and Jesus, and Nehemiah, Azariah, and Reelma, Neumani, Mardocheus, Bulsan, Maspherath, Esdra, Bogwiah, Enam, Bana, Masphar, men of the people of Israel. The children of Phoros, 2,172. The children of Saphatia, 372. The children of Era, 652. The children of Photh Moab, with the children of Jesus and Joab, 2,618. The children of Elam, 1,254. The children of Zethuiah, 845. The children of Zakku, 760. The children of Banui, 648. The children of Babai, 628. The children of Azgad, 2,322. The children of Adonikam, 667. The children of Bagoi, 2,067. The children of Eden, 655. The children of Ader, the son of Ezekias, 98. The children of Esam, 328. The children of Bisai, 324. The children of Ariph, 112. The children of Asan, 223. The children of Gabaon, 95. The children of Bethalim, 123. The children of Anapha, 56. The children of Anathoth, 128. The men of Bethesmoth, 42. The men of Kiriatharim, Kephirah, and Beroth, 743. The men of Arama and Gaba, 620. The men of Mashemaz, 122. The men of Bethel and Ai, 123. The men of Nabia, 152. The men of Elamar, 1,252. The children of Aram, 320. The children of Jericho, 345. The children of Lodadid and Ono, 721. The children of Senana, 3,930. The priests, the sons of Jodi, pertaining to the house of Jesus, 973. The children of Emer, 1,052. The children of Phazur, 1,247. The children of Aram, 1,017. The Levites, the children of Jesus the son of Kadmiel, with the children of Uduiah, 74. The singers, the children of Asaph, 148. The porters, the children of Salem, the children of Ader, the children of Telman, the children of Akub, the children of Atita, the children of Sabai, 138. The Nathanim, the children of Si, the children of Aspha, the children of Tabaoth, the children of Kiras, the children of Asuiah, the children of Phanon, the children of Labana, the children of Agaba, the children of Selme, the children of Onan, the children of Gadol, the children of Gar, the children of Raya, the children of Rasan, the children of Nekoda, the children of Jezan, the children of Ozi, the children of Phes, the children of Bisi, the children of Manon, the children of Nephasasi, the children of Bakbuk, the children of Achipha, the children of Er, the children of Basiloth, the children of Meda, the children of Adasan, the children of Barku, the children of Siserath, the children of Thema, the children of Nijah, the children of Adapha, the children of the servants of Solomon, the children of Sude, the children of Sapharat, the children of Farida, the children of Jelal, the children of Dorkin, the children of Gadal, the children of Saphatia, the children of Edel, the children of Phakarath, the children of Sabaim, the children of Emim. All the Nathanim and children of the servants of Solomon were 392. And these went up from Meleth, the Larsa, Charub, Iran, Jemer. But they could not declare the houses of their families, or their seed, whether they were of Israel. The children of Daliah, the children of Tobiah, the children of Nekoda, 642. And of the priests, the children of Ebiah, the children of Akos, the children of Berzeli, for they took wives of the daughters of Berzeli the Galadite, and they were called by their name. These sought the pedigree of their company, and it was not found, and they were removed as polluted from the priesthood. And the Athersastha said, that they should not eat of the most holy things until a priest should stand up to give light. And all the congregation was about 42,360, besides their menservants and their maidservants. These were 7,337. And the singing men and singing women, 245. 2,700 asses. And part of the heads of families gave into the treasury to Nehemias for the work 1,000 pieces of gold, 50 bowls, and 30 priests' garments. And some of the heads of families gave into the treasuries of the work 20,000 pieces of gold, and 2,300 pounds of silver. And the rest of the people gave 20,000 pieces of gold, and 2,200 pounds of silver, and 67 priests' garments. And the priests, and Levites, and porters, and singers, and some of the people, and the Nathanim, and all Israel lived in their cities. Chapter 8. And the 7th month arrived, and the children of Israel were settled in their cities. And all the people were gathered as one man to the broad place before the water gate. And they told Esdras the scribe to bring the book of the law of Moses, which the Lord commanded Israel. So Esdras the priest brought the law before the congregation, both of men and women. and every one who had understanding was present to listen on the first day of the 7th month. And he read in it from the time of sunrise to the middle of the day, before the men and the women. And they understood it, and the ears of all the people were attentive to the book of the law. And Esdras the scribe stood on a wooden stage, and there stood next to him Matthias, and Semias, and Ananias, and Urias, and Chelsha, and Masha on his right hand, and on his left Phaedias, and Misael, and Melchias, and Asam, and Asabadma, and Zacharias, and Mesalem. And Esdras opened the book before all the people, for he was above the people. And it came to pass when he had opened it, that all the people stood. And Esdras blessed the Lord, the great God. And all the people answered, and said, Amen, lifting up their hands. And they bowed down and worshipped the Lord with their face to the ground. And Jesus and Banias and Sarabias instructed the people in the law, and the people stood in their place. And they read in the book of the law of God. And Esdras taught, and instructed them distinctly in the knowledge of the Lord, and the people understood the law and the reading. And Nehemias, and Esdras the priest and scribe, and the Levites, and they that instructed the people, spoke and said to all the people, It is a holy day to the Lord our God. Do not mourn, nor weep. For all the people wept when they heard the words of the law. And the governor said to them, Go, eat the fat, and drink the sweet, and send portions to them that have nothing. For the day is holy to our Lord. And faint not, for the Lord is our strength. And the Levites caused all the people to be silent, saying, Be silent, for it is a holy day, and despond not. So all the people departed to eat, and to drink, and to send portions, and to make great mirth, for they understood the words which he made known to them. And on the 2nd day the heads of families assembled with all the people, also the priests and Levites, to Esdras the scribe, to attend to all the words of the law. And they found written in the law which the Lord commanded Moses, that the children of Israel should dwell in booths, in the feast in the 7th month, and that they should sound with trumpets in all their cities, and in Jerusalem. And Esdras said, Go forth to the mountain, and bring branches of olive, and branches of cypress trees, and branches of myrtle, and branches of palm trees, and branches of every thick tree, to make booths, according to that which was written. And the people went forth, and brought them, and made booths for themselves, each one upon his roof, and in their courts, and in the courts of the house of God, and in the streets of the city, and as far as the gate of Ephraim. And all the congregation who had returned from the captivity made booths, and lived in booths. For the children of Israel had not done so from the days of Jesus the son of Nah until that day. And there was great joy. And Esdras read in the book of the law of God daily, from the first day even to the last day. And they kept the feast 7 days. And on the 8th day a solemn assembly, according to the ordinance. Chapter 9. Now on the 24th day of this month the children of Israel assembled with fasting, and in sackcloths, and with ashes on their head. And the children of Israel separated themselves from every stranger, and stood and confessed their sins, and the iniquities of their fathers. And they stood in their place, and read in the book of the law of the Lord their God. And they confessed their sins to the Lord, and worshipped the Lord their God. And there stood upon the stairs of the Levites Jesus, and the sons of Kadmiel, Shechaniah the son of Sarabiah, sons of Choni. And they cried with a loud voice to the Lord their God. And the Levites, Jesus and Kadmiel, said, Rise up, bless the Lord our God forever and ever, and let them bless your glorious name, and exalt it with all blessing and praise. And Esdras said, You are the only true Lord. You made the heaven, and the heaven of heavens, and all their array, the earth, and all things that are in it, the seas, and all things in them. And you quicken all things, and the hosts of heaven worship you. You are the Lord God. You did choose Abram, and brought him out of the land of the Chaldeans, and gave him the name of Abram. And you found his heart faithful before you, and did make a covenant with him to give to him and to his seed the land of the Canaanites, and the Chettites, and Amorites, and Perizzites, and Jebusites, and Girgashites. And you have confirmed your words, for you are righteous. And you saw the affliction of our fathers in Egypt, and you heard their cry at the Red Sea. And you showed signs and wonders in Egypt, on Pharaoh and all his servants, and on all the people of his land. For you know that they behaved insolently against them. And you made yourself a name, as at this day. And you did cleave the sea before them, and they passed through the midst of the sea on dry land. And you did cast into the deep them that were about to pursue them, as a stone in the mighty water. And you guided them by day by a pillar of cloud, and by night by a pillar of fire, to enlighten for them the way wherein they should walk. Also you came down upon Mount Sinai, and you spoke to them out of heaven, and gave them right judgments, and laws of truth, ordinances, and good commandments. And you did make known to them your holy Sabbath. You did enjoin upon them commandments, and ordinances, and a law by the hand of your servant Moses. And you gave them bread from heaven for their food, and you brought them forth water from a rock for their thirst. And you bade them go in to inherit the land over which you stretched out your hand to give it them. But they and our fathers behaved proudly, and hardened their neck, and did not listen to your commandments, and refused to listen, and remembered not your wonders which you wrought with them. And they hardened their neck, and appointed a leader to return to their slavery in Egypt. But you, O God, are merciful and compassionate, long-suffering, and abundant in mercy, and you did not forsake them. And still farther they even made to themselves a molten calf, and said, These are the gods that brought us up out of Egypt. And they wrought great provocations. Yet you in your great compassions did not forsake them in the wilderness. You did not turn away from them the pillar of the cloud by day, to guide them in the way, nor the pillar of fire by night, to enlighten for them the way wherein they should walk. And you gave your good spirit to instruct them, and you did not withhold your manna from their mouth, and gave them water in their thirst. And you did sustain them 40 years in the wilderness. You did not allow anything to fail them. Their garments did not wax old, and their feet were not bruised. Moreover, you gave them kingdoms, and did divide nations to them. And they inherited the land of Sihon king of Esabon, and the land of Og king of Bashan. And you did multiply their children as the stars of heaven, and brought them into the land of which you spoke to their fathers. And they inherited it. And you did destroy from before them the dwellers in the land of the Canaanites. And you gave into their hands them and their kings, and the nations of the land, to do to them as it pleased them. And they took lofty cities, and inherited houses full of all good things, wells dug, vineyards, and olive yards, and every fruit tree in abundance. So they ate, and were filled, and grew fat, and rioted in your great goodness. But they turned, and revolted from you, and cast your law behind their backs. And they killed your prophets, who testified against them to turn them back to you, and they wrought great provocations. Then you gave them into the hand of them that afflicted them, and they did afflict them. And they cried to you in the time of their affliction, and you did hear them from your heaven, and in your great compassions gave them deliverers, and did save them from the hand of them that afflicted them. But when they rested, they did evil again before you. So you left them in the hands of their enemies, and they ruled over them. And they cried again to you, and you heard them from heaven, and did deliver them in your great compassions. And you did testify against them, to bring them back to your law. But they listened not, but sinned against your commandments and your judgments, which if a man do, he shall live in them. And they turned their back, and hardened their neck, and heard not. Yet you did bear long with them many years, and did testify to them by your Spirit by the hand of your prophets. But they listened not. So you gave them into the hand of the nations of the land. But you in your many mercies did not appoint them to destruction, and did not forsake them. For you are strong, and merciful, and pitiful. And now, O our God, the powerful, the great, the mighty, and the terrible, keeping your covenant and your mercy, let not all the troubles seem little in your sight which has come upon us, and our kings, and our princes, and our priests, and our prophets, and our fathers, and upon all your people, from the days of the kings of Ashur even to this day. But you are righteous in all the things that come upon us. For you have wrought faithfully, but we have greatly sinned, and our kings, and our princes, and our priests, and our fathers have not performed your law, and have not given heed to your commandments, and have not kept your testimonies which you did testify to them. And they did not serve you in your kingdom, and in your great goodness which you gave to them, and in the large and fat land which you did furnish before them, and they turned not from their evil devices. Behold, we are servants this day. And as for the land which you gave to our fathers to eat the fruit of it and the good things of it, behold, we are servants upon it. And its produce is abundant for the kings whom you did appoint over us because of our sins. And they have dominion over our bodies, and over our cattle, as it pleases them, and we are in great affliction. And in regard to all these circumstances we make a covenant, and write it, and our princes, our Levites, and our priests set their seal to it. Chapter 10. And over them that sealed were Nehemias the Artisasta, son of Achaliah, and Zedekias, the son of Uriah, and Azariah, and Jeremiah, Phaser, Amariah, Melchiah, Attius, Sabani, Malach, Iram, Meremoth, Abdiah, Daniel, Ganathan, Baruch, Mesulem, Abiah, Maiamin, Maziah, Belgai, Samaiah. These were priests. And the Levites, Jesus the son of Azaniah, Baniu of the sons of Anadad, Cadmiel and his brethren, Sabaniah, Oduiah, Calaton, Pheliah, Onan, Micah, Rube, Asebias, Zachar, Sarabiah, Sabaniah, Odom, the sons of Banui, the heads of the people, Phoros, Photh Moab, Elam, Zethuiah, the sons of Bani, Asgad, Babai, Adania, Bagoi, Hedanader, Ezekiah, Azur, Oduiah, Esem, Basi, Ariph, Anathoth, Nobai, Megivs, Mesalam, Ezir, Mesosbul, Sadok, Jedua, Phalsha, Onan, Enia, Osi, Anania, Asub, Alos, Phalai, Sobek, Ream, Esabana, Maja, and Ea, Enan, Enam, Malach, Sharam, Bana. And the rest of the people, the priests, the Levites, the porters, the singers, the Nathanim, and every one who drew off from the nations of the land to the law of God, their wives, their sons, their daughters, every one who had knowledge and understanding, were urgent with their brethren, and bound them under a curse, and entered into a curse and into an oath to walk in the law of God, which was given by the hand of Moses, the servant of God, to keep and to do all the commandments of the Lord, and his judgments and his ordinances. And that we will not, they said, give our daughters to the people of the land, nor will we take their daughters to our sons. And as for the people of the land who bring wares and all manner of merchandise to sell on the Sabbath day, we will not buy of them on the Sabbath or on the holy day. And we will leave the 7th year and the exaction of every debt. And we will impose ordinances upon ourselves, to levy on ourselves the 3rd part of a didrachm yearly for the service of the house of our God, the showbread, and the continual meat offering, and for the continual whole burnt offering of the Sabbaths of the new moon, for the feast, and for the holy things, and the sin offerings to make atonement for Israel, and for the works of the house of our God. And we cast lots for the office of wood-bearing, we the priests, and the Levites, and the people, to bring wood into the house of our God, according to the house of our families, at certain set times, year by year, to burn on the altar of the Lord our God, as it is written in the law, and to bring the first fruits of our land, and the first fruits of the fruit of every tree, year by year, into the house of the Lord, the firstborn of our sons, and of our cattle, as it is written in the law, and the firstborn of our herds and of our flocks, to bring to the house of our God, for the priests that minister in the house of our God, and the first fruits of our corn, and the fruit of every tree, of wine, and of oil, will we bring to the priests to the treasury of the house of God, and a tithe of our land to the Levites. For the Levites themselves shall receive tithes in all the cities of the land we cultivate. And the priest the son of Aaron shall be with the Levites in the tithe of the Levite. And the Levites shall bring up the 10th part of their tithe to the house of our God, into the treasuries of the house of God. For the children of Israel and the children of Levi shall bring into the treasuries the first fruits of the corn, and wine, and oil. And there are the holy vessels, and the priests, and the ministers, and the porters, and the singers. And we will not forsake the house of our God. Chapter 11. And the chiefs of the people lived in Jerusalem. And the rest of the people cast lots, to bring one of every 10 to dwell in Jerusalem the holy city, and 9 parts in the other cities. And the people blessed all the men that volunteered to dwell in Jerusalem. Now these are the chiefs of the province who lived in Jerusalem, and in the cities of Judah. Every man lived in his possession in their cities. Israel, the priests, and the Levites, and the Nathanim, and the children of the servants of Solomon. And there lived in Jerusalem some of the children of Judah, and of the children of Benjamin. Of the children of Judah, Adiah son of Aziah, the son of Zechariah, the son of Samaria, the son of Shephatiah, the son of Maleel, and some of the sons of Phares, and Majah son of Barach, son of Chelazah, son of Oziah, son of Adaiah, son of Jorib, son of Zecharias, son of Saloni. All the sons of Phares who lived in Jerusalem were 468 men of might. And these were the children of Benjamin: Silo son of Mesulam, son of Jod, son of Phadaiah, son of Koliah, son of Majas, son of Ethiel, son of Jijah, and after him Jeb, Seli, 928. And Joel son of Zechri was overseer over them. And Judah son of Asana was second in the city. Of the priests, both Jadiah son of Jorib, and Jachin, Sariah, son of Elkiah, son of Mesulam, son of Sadok, son of Meriath, son of Edoth, was over the house of God. And their brethren doing the work of the house were 822. And Adaiah son of Jerome, son of Philaliah, son of Amasi, son of Zechariah, son of Pashur, son of Melchiah, and his brethren, chiefs of families, 242. And Amaziah son of Esdriel, son of Mesharimith, son of Immer, and his brethren, mighty men of war, 128. And their overseer was Badiel son of one of the great men. And of the Levites, Samaiah, son of Esracham, Mathanias, son of Micah, and Jobab, son of Samui, 284. And the porters, Akub, Telamin, and their brethren, 172. And the overseer of the Levites was the son of Bani, son of Ozi, son of Asabiah, the son of Micah. Of the sons of Asaph the singers, some were over the house of God, for so was the king's commandment concerning them. And Phaiah son of Basa was in attendance on the king in every matter for the people, and with regard to villages in their country district. And some of the children of Judah lived in Kiriath Arbach, and in Jesu, and in Bersabe. And their villages were Lachish in her hands. And they pitched their tents in Bersabe. And the children of Benjamin lived from Gabah to Machmas. And of the Levites there were divisions to Judah and to Benjamin. Chapter 12. Now these are the priests and the Levites that went up with Zorobabel the son of Salathiel and Jesus, Seraiah, Jeremiah, Esdra, Amariah, Malach, Secheniah. These were the chiefs of the priests, and their brethren in the days of Jesus. And the Levites were Jesus, Banui, Kadmiel, Serabiah, Jodi, Mathaniah. He was over the bands, and his brethren were appointed to the daily courses. And Jesus begot Joachim, and Joachim begot Eliasib, and Eliasib begot Jodi. And Jodi begot Jonathan, and Jonathan begot Jadu. And in the days of Joachim, his brethren the priests and the heads of families were, belonging to Seraiah, Amariah, to Jeremiah, Ananiah, to Esdra, Mesullam, to Amariah, Jonan, to Amalach, Jonathan, to Secheniah, Joseph, to Manas, to Marius, Elkai, to Adonai, Zechariah, to Ginathoth, Mesullam, to Abiah, Zechri, to Miamin, Madai, to Phileti, 1, to Balgaz, Samuel, to Semiah, Jonathan, to Jorib, Mathanai, to Adio, Ozi, to Salai, Kalai, to Amik, Abed, to Elkiah, Asabias, to Jedahu, Nathanael. The Levites in the days of Eliasib, Joda, and Joah, and Jonan, and Idua were recorded heads of families. Also the priests, in the reign of Darius the Persian. And the sons of Levi, heads of families, were written in the book of the Chronicles, even to the days of Jonan son of Elisu. And the heads of the Levites were Asabiah, and Serabiah, and Jesu. And the sons of Kadmiel, and their brethren over against them, were to sing hymns of praise, according to the commandment of David the man of God, course by course. When I gathered the porters, it was in the days of Joachim son of Jesus, son of Jostek, and in the days of Nehemiah. And Esdras the priest was scribe. And at the dedication of the wall of Jerusalem they sought the Levites in their places, to bring them to Jerusalem, to keep a feast of dedication and gladness with thanksgiving. And they sounded cymbals with songs, and had lutes and harps. And the sons of the singers were assembled both from the neighborhood round about to Jerusalem, and from the villages, and from the country. For the singers built themselves villages by Jerusalem. And the priests and the Levites purified themselves. And they purified the people, and the porters, and the wall. And they brought up the princes of Judah on the wall. And they appointed 2 great companies for thanksgiving. And they passed on the right hand on the wall of the dung gate. And after them went Asaiah, and half the princes of Judah, and Azarias, and Esdras, and Mesullam, and Judah, and Benjamin, and Samaias, and Jeremiah, and some of the sons of the priest with trumpets, Zechariah son of Jonathan, son of Samaias, son of Mathaniah, son of Micaiah, son of Zachar, son of Asaph, and his brethren, Samaiah, and Oziel, Jelal, Jamaiah, Nathanael, and Judah, Anani, to praise with the hymns of David the man of God. And Esdras the scribe was before them, at the gate, to praise before them. And they went up by the steps of the city of David, in the ascent of the wall, above the house of David, even to the water gate of Ephraim, and to the fish gate, and by the tower of Anamiel, and as far as the sheep gate. And the singers were heard, and were numbered. And in that day they offered great sacrifices, and rejoiced, for God had made them very joyful. And their wives and their children rejoiced. And the joy in Jerusalem was heard from afar off. And in that day they appointed men over the treasuries, for the treasures, the firstfruits, and the tithes, and for the chiefs of the cities who were assembled among them, to furnish portions for the priests and Levites. For there was joy in Judah over the priests, and over the Levites that waited. And they kept the charges of their God, and the charges of the purification, and ordered the singers and the porters, according to the commandments of David and his son Solomon. For in the days of David Asaph was originally first of the singers, and they sang hymns and praise to God. And all Israel in the days of Zorobabel, and in the days of Nehemias, gave the portions of the singers and the porters a daily rate, and consecrated them to the Levites. And the Levites consecrated them to the sons of Aaron. Chapter 13. In that day they read in the book of Moses in the ears of the people. And it was found written in it, that the Ammonites and Moabites should not enter into the congregation of God forever, because they met not the children of Israel with bread and water, but hired Balaam against them to curse them. but our God turned the curse into a blessing. And it came to pass, when they heard the law, that they were separated, even every alien in Israel. And before this time Eliasib the priest lived in the treasury of the house of our God, connected with Tobias, and he made himself a great treasury. And there they were formerly in the habit of bestowing the offerings, and the frankincense, and the vessels, and the tithe of the corn, and the wine, and the oil, the ordered portion of the Levites, and singers, and porters, and the first fruits of the priests. But in all this time I was not in Jerusalem. For in the 32nd year of Arphaxad the king of Babylon I came to the king. And after a certain time I made my request of the king. And I came to Jerusalem. And I understood the mischief which Eliasib had done in the case of Tobias, in making for him a treasury in the court of the house of God. And it appeared very evil to me. So I cast forth all the furniture of the house of Tobias from the treasury. And I gave orders, and they purified the treasuries. And I restored there the vessels of the house of God, and the offerings, and the frankincense. And I understood that the portion of the Levites had not been given, and they had fled every one to his field, the Levites and the singers doing the work. And I strove with the commanders, and said, Therefore has the house of God been abandoned. And I assembled them, and set them in their place. And all Judah brought a tithe of the wheat and the wine and the oil into the treasuries, to the charge of Selemiah the priest, and Zadok the scribe, and Phadiah of the Levites. And next to them was Onan the son of Zachar, son of Matthanias, for they were accounted faithful. It was their office to distribute to their brethren. Remember me, O God, in this, and let not my kindness be forgotten which I have wrought in regard to the house of the Lord God. In those days I saw in Judah men treading wine presses on the Sabbath, and carrying sheaves, and loading asses with both wine, and grapes, and figs, and every kind of burden, and bringing them into Jerusalem on the Sabbath day. And I testified in the day of their sale. Also there lived in it men bringing fish, and selling every kind of merchandise to the children of Judah and in Jerusalem on the Sabbath. And I strove with the free children of Judah, and said to them, What is this evil thing which you do, and profane the Sabbath day? Did not your fathers thus? And our God brought upon them and upon us and upon this city all these evils. And do you bring additional wrath upon Israel by profaning the Sabbath? And it came to pass, when the gates were set up in Jerusalem before the Sabbath, that I spoke, and they shut the gates. And I gave orders that they should not be opened till after the Sabbath. And I set some of my servants at the gates, that none should bring in burdens on the Sabbath day. So all the merchants lodged, and carried on traffic without Jerusalem once or twice. Then I testified against them, and said to them, Why do you lodge in front of the wall? If you do so again, I will stretch out my hand upon you. From that time they came not on the Sabbath. And I told the Levites who were purifying themselves, and came and kept the gates, that they should sanctify the Sabbath day. Remember me, O God, for these things, and spare me according to the abundance of your mercy. And in those days I saw the Jews who had married women of Ashdod, of Ammon, and of Moab. And their children spoke half in the language of Ashdod, and did not know how to speak in the Jewish language. And I strove with them and cursed them. And I struck some of them, and plucked off their hair, and made them swear by God, saying, You shall not give your daughters to their sons, and you shall not take of their daughters to your sons. Did not Solomon king of Israel sin thus? Though there was no king like him among many nations. And he was beloved of God, and God made him king over all Israel. Yet strange women turned him aside. So we will not listen to you to do all this evil, to break covenant with our God, to marry strange wives. And Elisab the high priest, one of the sons of Jodah, being son-in-law of Sanballat the Uronite, I chased him away from me. Remember them, O God, for their false connection with the priesthood, and the breaking the covenant of the priesthood, and for defiling the Levites. So I purged them from all foreign connection, and established courses for the priests and the Levites, every man according to his work. And the offering of the wood-bearers was at certain set times, and in the times of the first fruits. Remember me, O our God, for good.